Welcome to Third Shot Podcast. Uncle Greg and I have another great episode in store for you. But before we get into it, if you could pull up your phones, join us on Instagram and Facebook at Third Shot Podcast, or you can follow us on YouTube and watch us at Third Shot Podcast. You can comment or tweet. It's not even tweeting anymore. It's X. You can X with us.
Is that what it's called?
I don't
Is it
know.
called Xing?
I think I just made that up. But we're on X at Third Shot Pod. We love all of the comments and the interactions. And if you have something to say or a recommendation for someone that we should have on our show, go ahead and leave us a note in the comments and we will definitely try to get them on here. But thank you all so much for all the support. And we're going to do a toast to our supportive audience out there and our listeners.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. We really do appreciate all of you.
We do. Cheers.
Cheers. How you doing?
I'm good. And how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I feel good, especially after that shot. I feel even better. But yeah, it's like the end of spring, the beginning of summer. And it just feels good to get out to the courts, play more. For the
Yeah.
longest time up here in the Bay Area, the weather just wasn't cooperating, so it was kind of tough. When I came down to visit you in Vegas, the wind wasn't cooperating. So, it's just been weather's been kind of keeping my play down, but it's turning the corner. I'm feeling good.
Good. And the weather out here, after you left, the wind has like died down. The weather's
Great.
been perfect. I know we
Great.
come back. But it's not always the wind, I think, that prevents me from having games when I go out there. And I've got a grievance to make, a
Oh,
bone to pick with the pickleball world.
okay. What's up?
So, and I think you and I had experienced this too when we went out there. But I've mentioned it before. We've got a beautiful facility here that's like 20 plus courts for public play. And when you go out there, there's tons of people. And you think, great, I can get some like really awesome matches in. I can meet some people. But then you start asking, like, can I put my pedal down? Can I jump in? And
Right.
we found multiple courts where they said, oh, no, sorry, this is reserved.
Yep.
And I do know that you can go through the city and through Parks and Rec and reserve courts. And I think there's like a small fee associated with it. But I do like that you can reserve them. But I also don't like showing up and trying to figure out which court will let me play with them and having to ask all these different groups. I just wish that there was some sort of like universal, not rules, but just some kind of structure when it comes to rotating and playing on a public, facility.
Yeah, there needs to be some type of like flag or there's like something that you can say, okay, this court is reserved for the next hour or something like that, right? That's what we were running across when we went out there is like, hey, can we put our paddles in? No, we got to reserve for the next hour. And then we go, okay, then we walk to the next court. Can we put no, it's reserved. And we just kept going over and over again. And finally we go, oh, you know what? We should look at which courts have paddles down, but they were stacked up because so many of the courts were reserved.
Yes.
So it is a challenge. I know up in our area, we don't have public courts that have nearly as many as Sunset does, right? So
Mhm.
around where I live, at Rudger in Walnut Creek, there's 8 courts, and it's always open. You can't. I don't believe you can reserve it, and I think that makes it more, available in a sense where when you go there, you can always paddle up and you can get on. But then you deal with, okay, what are the rules to paddling up? Is it winners? When you're playing doubles, is it winners get to stay on, or is it 4 on, 4 off? You're right. There is no kind of guidelines to figure all this out. Every court has their own rules, and if you're playing with your own 4 friends, you don't want to let 2 people on. You want to kind of stay with your own 4 friends. Kind of challenging, huh?
It is. And another thing is that at Sunset, they do have specific courts marked as challenge courts. But then you run into the issue of like, if you're not like a 4-0 plus player, you're not going to get any games because the 4-0 players are all over there playing each other. And
Right.
the normal, the normal,
Normal.
the average player, will have a tough time getting in or getting any matches in because once you're on, you'll just get kicked off.
I think what the solution is there just needs to be more indicators, right?
Yeah.
Or like the public courts need to say, okay, at these times on like on their website or the community or whatever, some way there needs to be information publicized that, okay, on these times, these courts are reserved. So you can kind of see before you even go out there, before you drive out there, okay, well, it looks like all the courts are reserved for this hour. I'm going to wait until later in the day or get out there earlier.
Yeah, that's a really good idea too because sometimes the commute here in Vegas especially is like
Yeah.
an hour plus depending on where you're coming from, and if you drive that whole way and come find out all the courts are reserved and no one's going to let you in, like you just wasted 2 hours cuz you got to drive back home after that. So there's got to be some way, like you said, an indicator, a flag, or a sign that you can flip up and down saying like open play, closed play, something.
At Sunset, or you have a lot of community courts also that aren't nearly as big as Sunset that may have 2
Right.
courts or 4 courts. Is there a website that people can go to and check out if somebody's reserving the courts or it's open play?
That's a good question. Maybe I should have done some research before I started complaining.
Yeah, because at our courts, I don't believe there is. Like, just the public courts, I don't believe there's a website that we can go to and just find out if it's reserved or not reserved or, what time people can kinda go on and just paddle up, right? I think it's just a free for all. I believe you just gotta show up and hope. It's funny because I was on, Nextdoor, and somebody had posted that their mother was in from Texas, and she's gonna be here for a month or 2, and she was asking for which courts to play at, and I got on and I suggested some different courts, and I said, "Okay, these times are when you're gonna get more play, and these times are gonna be a little slower," but I didn't well, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have looked into whether there was a website or something like that that she could go to and check it out.
Yeah, well, we have run across a few websites where it shows like where you can find these courts, but it doesn't tell you specifically like if it's reserved or if it's open. So maybe that's the next app or the next website that's going to be
Is that
developed.
gonna be our business? Are we creating this app?
Oh
Well,
man.
I mean, there are apps out there, right, that you can go and find the courts closest to you. We've
Right.
interviewed a couple of different apps that do that. You know what? After this show, I'm going on their apps and finding out whether there's specific information on every court on whether, it's reserved or not, because that would be valuable information for these apps.
Yeah, big time. Well, and I was just thinking too that this is such a great problem to have that we have so many people wanting to play this sport and that we're running into the problem of needing more court space because that just goes to show like how popular pickleball is and I think is going to continue to be because they have such a large buy-in amongst so many different ranges of levels and people and that's why we love it. But also sometimes I got a complaint.
Well, I forgot to look when I was down and visiting you how close the Chicken and Pickle was to opening.
Oh my gosh, it's so close.
Really?
Yeah, they're finishing putting up the structures. I don't know if they've updated their opening date, but as soon as it's open, you got to get out here so we can get in there because that will be my first indoor, like actual pickleball dedicated facility that I've played at.
Right. Right. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think these indoor facilities are popping up all over the place, and we're lucky enough that we actually get to talk to a couple of the owners of a new facility, called Dinkers Pickleball Club that's opening up in Denton, Texas. So we are bringing on the owners, Blake and Doug, right after you subscribe to our show, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcast or on YouTube. Please go and give us 5 stars, subscribe to us. We really appreciate all the support, all the comments, as you were saying earlier, Bridgie. We love the feedback. And go on to our social media, whether it's Third Shot Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, or Third Shot Pod on X, and you can Xing us. Is that right? Xing us?
Sure. X
Or
with us.
you could X us, but don't X us out, but Xing us, hopefully, and go on to our, what am I missing? I'm missing
Website.
YouTube. Look us up on Third Shot Podcast, and obviously our website. You're right, on thirdshotpodcast.com. And with that, let's bring on our guests, co-owners of Dinkers Pickleball Club, Blake Bearden and Doug Rogers. Welcome, guys. How you doing?
We're fantastic, Doug.
Great, Greg. How are you?
It's great to be with you guys. Thank you so much for having us on.
We're doing well. Thank you again for coming on and telling us all of your secrets about Dinkers Pickleball Club that's soon to open.
Absolutely.
Before we jump into those questions, we're going to do a quick little toast to the opening of Dinkers Pickleball Club.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
cheers. I think the more toasts we do, the more secrets we're going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly right.
Very nice.
Yes.
So before we started this, we were kind of just chatting and everything. And the two of you are so much fun and bring so much passion. But how did the two of you meet?
Well, so it's kind
Funny story.
Yeah, funny story. Doug and I were both in the mortgage business we've been in the mortgage business for over 20 years. We were in the mortgage business for over 20 years. Now we're pickleball owners, but pickleball clubs. But we met my wife at the time was best friends with his girlfriend and soon to be wife. And the funny part about the story is that then when Doug decided that he and his wife split up, we got Doug in the divorce, which worked out for us. And so Doug hung out with us. And then I recently, when I say recently, about 4 or 5 or 6 years ago, split up with my wife, and Doug and Jessica, his new wife, got me in the divorce. So we met about 20 years ago. We were both in the mortgage business, and we've been best friends for a very, very long time.
Ever since.
That is so cool that you guys adopted each other. I love that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. We adopted each other.
Exactly.
So when did pickleball work into the relationship?
Well, Doug, you mean
August of 2023 is when the idea came about.
So what happened? I come from a tennis background, and I was dating a girl at the time who was also a tennis player. And although she didn't like to play with me, and I can't imagine why, and she was like, "You got to try this pickleball thing. You got to try this pickleball thing." And I played competitive tennis growing up, and I was of the ilk at the time of, "Oh no, I'm not that old. I'm not going to try it." So finally, she talked me into trying it, and I did, and went, "This is cool." I mean, it was like, this is really, really cool. I mean, it's so easy. It's so gregarious. You get to hang out. You could play for 10 minutes. You're not devoting an hour and a half, and you can have a cocktail between
Right.
games, and you can listen to music, and it's not all, and I loved it. And so I was like, okay, this is really neat. And so I was playing with her, and then Doug and Jessica, you guys started what, August, Doug?
We did. Started in August, about the same thing. And ding, ding, ding. The lights went off the first time that we went out and played at public courts, like at here in McKinney at our Finch Park. We went out on a Tuesday night at like 8 o'clock at night, and there were 200 people out there waiting to play pickleball.
Yeah.
Wow. And I was like, man, the light bulb just went off. Ding, 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 ding. And I did. I started thinking about opening up an indoor pickleball facility, and that's where Dinkers Pickleball Club was born.
So what were the kind of early conversations that you and Blake had? Did you pitch the idea to him? Was it a hard sell? Like, I'm imagining it was pretty easy.
So I actually called him up, and I was like, Blake, we need to go to lunch. I need to talk to you about something, and I want you to bring Matt Spellman with you. And he's like, why do you want Matt Spellman to come with me? I said, because he's a commercial real estate guy. And he's like, okay. So Blake and I and Matt Spellman.
Matt Spellman was my doubles partner in tennis.
Oh,
He and I
okay.
are both in the same ilk. Well, Matt was more so than me that it's like, we'll never do that. We're too old. He and I traveled playing tennis all around the state. And so Matt's like, what the heck do you want me to join you guys for?
So at this lunch meeting, had Matt already tried pickleball yet or not?
Oh, he still hasn't tried pickleball.
Oh, he still
Oh,
hasn't picked up a
oh,
paddle.
he's one of those guys.
Yeah, he's one of those holdouts.
So that's kind of cool that you had a contact that helped you on the property side, right? On the building side, because we've talked to other people that wanted to start their own facility and finding a location either to build from the ground up or find a location that was already existing, but they had to just kind of remodel it and kind of do it so it works for a pickleball club. Like, how did you go about that process, deciding whether you're going to go ground up or use an existing?
Well, ground up seemed a little intrusive. When he first came to me, he said, "Hey, we want to open a pickleball place," and I said, "Wow, you're smoking crack. There's no way we can pull this off." And so building from ground up seemed a little bit much.
Yeah.
So we began to look at facilities, and first we thought we want to do 20 courts. We need 25 courts. This is going to be great. Well, I don't know if you're familiar, but that's a lot of courts.
That's
Yeah,
a lot of space.
Indoor, that's a lot of indoor courts.
That's a
And
lot
so
of
we begin to
space.
go, oh, well, okay, maybe 15, maybe
Just back it
10,
down a little
maybe
bit.
5. So that's the way it started. Is we began to look at all the different options that we had, and it began to kind of, and quite honestly, it's kind of shocking to me, and I think the thought process is changing. But it's so many people that we look at and go, okay, we're interested in this building. And they go, wait, pickleball? No, thank you, we're not interested.
That's what the conversations were when we first began looking at buildings and stuff. The building owners didn't actually want the concept in their building, and that was a big issue that we ran into early.
What was their reasoning?
They wanted it for warehouse space.
Yep.
The spaces that we were looking at, they wanted it from top to bottom, from floor to ceiling. They wanted those buildings used for storage, and they already had the big clients that would rent those spaces out. So they were not interested in talking to us.
So how did you end up finding a spot? Like, what
so
was that
we
like?
decided, yeah, that's a good one. So what we decided was we got to look at, and there's other franchises that are kind of coming into our marketplace. And I don't know how familiar you are with this part of the world, but it's Dallas, and then the big towns outside, McKinney, Plano. And we were looking at some of those places that came, and those places that are closer, that space is expensive. And we're like, okay, well, to get what we really want, that's going to be really expensive. And the more we talked about it, the more we wanted to do a community kind of a concept. We thought, okay, well, rather than moving into a town with 800,000 with 1 million people, where we're just another pickleball facility, let's take a look at smaller communities. Let's look at some of the outside communities. And so we began to look at places like Sherman Denison, Weatherford, and ultimately Denton, Texas, which is I don't know if, again, it's a city of 150, 200,000 people. There's a major college there, and
two major universities.
Yep. University of North Texas and Texas Women's University. So it's kind of a small town. And again, coming from, both of us went to Texas Tech University. So coming from a smaller town that's kind of university oriented, we went, this could be
a positive surge for business.
They aren't looking there. Nobody else wants to come in here. We would be the only place in an area that roughly around us is, quite populous. It's probably 200,000, 250,000 people. And so we really wanted to move into that community, my courts, and try to make it a community feel. And so we began to look outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And that's where we came across for the space we have now.
That's awesome. We love the community feel. That's kind of like what Third Shot Podcast is about too, just kind of building that community around pickleball. And we like your slogan. Say it one more time for us, because I think that's so awesome.
Your court, your community.
Beautiful. So around that, how do you plan to kind of foster that vibe within your facility?
Well, we're doing a lot of stuff within the community itself. We're not only talking to the Chamber of Commerce this morning. I went to a breakfast Chamber of Commerce. By the way, it's really early. and I'm not used to that. But we went to the Chamber of Commerce today. I did stuff with them, talking to all the local businesses. We're really trying to bring in local businesses to exchange. We want to do business with them. They want to do business with us. We're also talking to before we got open, we talked to the Denton High School. They were talking to us about like end of year parties. We wanted to talk to the high schools. We talked to the UNT, University of North Texas. We really want to infiltrate ourselves into the community itself. And again, we really want this club to take on the atmosphere of, or the personality, really, the personality of the area that it's in. We don't want to be just another club where people come, play, leave. We want people to hang out. They want them to, again, say it how many times? Your community, your court's your community. We want people to be. We want the guy who wakes up or the girl who wakes up and Saturday morning goes, "Oh, it's raining and I didn't book anything at Dinkers. You know what? I'm just going to go up and watch everybody else play." We want that kind of a feel about the place. And
Absolutely.
That's kind of where we ended up.
We want it to be inviting for everybody. If you play or you don't play, if you're pickleball curious, come out and see us. You'll enjoy it. Pickleball is really a fun game to watch. Even if you don't play, pickleball is exciting to watch.
And it's so inclusive. It's that's what I loved about it. It's so easy to learn. And we talked about the fact that, we're going to have you want to learn it Saturday morning, 30 minutes. It's free. Come on out. We'll teach you the game. We want to work out. We want to start kind of at younger crowds. We want to talk to the independent school districts and say, okay, look, y'all need a place for your kids to come. I like to do a lot of fishing, and I saw a slogan not too long ago that was, if we had more tackle boxes and less X boxes, it'd be a great world. Let's do the same thing with pickleball. Let's get these kids, not so much sitting on their screens. Let's get them on courts, and we were really trying to foster that in our place.
Well, one of the things that's kind of dear to Bridgie and I is obviously, Bridgie works at UNLV, so she's very active in the college community. It sounds like you guys are close to a college or two. Is it possible that you guys could do like collegiate leagues and have some matches against the different colleges? Is that something that's in the plans?
It's absolutely in the plans. We want to foster a thing of, again, UNT. Bridgie, if you want to talk to your boys at UNLV, we want to get together. We have a facility that's an indoor facility. Why don't we start a pickleball league if you're not going to, and hopefully eventually it becomes a scholarship sport that people will. We've got your facility. We want to be the home of that for that area for UNT. We want to be an area where those junior high, high school, and moving on up, they can use our courts as their main facility, and again, foster that. If your kids are, I know when I was growing up playing tennis, I played tennis, and so my parents played tennis, and let's all get together it's a place you can go with your family and go play for the day, whatever, a few hours here and there.
I think it'd be fun to have all the high schools play against each other.
Love it.
That's what we're thinking.
And then the winner of that tournament gets to play against the college.
Yes.
Play your way up.
Yeah.
In today's world, with pickleball being as new as it is, there's a great and zero chance the high school kids win. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. It's the younger kids that are winning this game right now.
Because if you get the high school students playing, you get the parents playing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's true.
All day long. That is very true. And this is, and we've all seen it, and I've seen it firsthand, and I love it. It's a family sport. Everybody in your family can get involved and play pickleball.
My mother's 79, and I'm pretty sure that there's nobody on this podcast that can beat her.
Nope.
She plays 6 days a week.
She would beat me.
She plays 6 days a week. She's addicted. She is it's part of it. It's like, Mom, slow down a little. She's like, oh no.
Oh no, not gonna happen.
So has she bought a membership yet to your facility?
Well, she doesn't have to.
She's grandfathered in.
Yeah, she's gonna be.
She knows somebody.
Yeah, she has connections. So.
Yeah, she knows a couple of people.
You mean Doug?
Doesn't like me.
Yeah, she doesn't like Blake. She'll call me.
That's That's funny. So, aside from tournaments and leagues that you are planning, are there any other type of events that you'll be hosting?
We will. Well, again, you talked about the leagues and the tournaments. We're looking forward to some of the practice stuff. Like I'd really like to get some of the um, or we went the other night and watched the Dallas professional team that plays.
Dallas Flash.
Yeah, the Dallas Flash. And we talked to the owner of that, and he's like, "Well, sometimes we want to get out of this." And I'm like, "Hey, you can use our, and come work out at our courts, just to have a different view." We're hoping to do that. We're hoping to have some events like that where people can come out and watch and learn. Like I said, if you're wanting to learn pickleball, if you're wanting to try to, what's it all about? It's so much fun to go watch those guys play because they're ridiculous, right? I mean, I think I'm doing pretty good, and I go out and I'm like, oh no, maybe not.
Not so much.
Yeah, those guys.
I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Yeah, they seem to move better than me. I'm not sure why. Maybe it could be the 35-year age gap, but nonetheless, we're wanting to do more events like that. And Doug, we talked about some of the stuff that's like
and camps, like summer camps, kids summer camps, and things like that, and putting those in place for later in the summer, because we're opening right as everybody's getting out of school. But later during the summer, closer to school going back, having a few weeks where we can actually establish summer camps for kids and things like that for those activities to include in the building. Again, we want to foster to that younger generation, because that's what this sport's bringing right now, is that younger generation. I mean, Annalee Waters, the #1 woman player in the world, is 17 years old. I mean, so the average age of pickleball is no longer in the 60s. It's in the 30s and below.
Yeah. Well, Blake, you had mentioned that they might be 35 years younger, and that might be have something to do with it. But that's no excuse for your mom. She's beating people, so I don't know where you're pulling that from.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't want to play.
Blake just makes excuses.
Well, I am loving the fact that you are trying to get the youth involved, and I think that's the future of the sport. That's the longevity of the sport, and Bridgie and I are all about that. Part of it is like having a good coach, right? Having the lessons to get people excited when they're young and they're excited. They want to get into the sport. They want to do it with their friends. They want to introduce it to their friends. Are you going to have lessons? You're going to have a pro on staff? How's that going to work?
Absolutely. Actually, we're gonna have more than one. We have a couple of guys that have been playing for, like Aiden Suarez, for instance. Aiden Aiden Suarez moved here from Minnesota. He is a pickleball guy. In Texas, most people are tennis players, and now they've learned to play pickleball. They've learned to coach pickleball. Aiden is a pickleball guy. I've already got members people that are texting me going, "Hey, I'm a member now. Can you, I want to make sure that Aiden's going to be there." Absolutely. We're going to have clinics. We're going to have lessons. We're going to have, again, the things that we're going to do for, have you never played before? Come on out. Stuff with all of our pros. We're trying to pick up, we're meeting a few other people that we're going to bring on board that we have. We're hoping to have a full arsenal of pros that we can teach and again, teach the game to improve.
Accommodating all skill levels.
Absolutely. But it's kind of funny. We have in our open play, we've kind of designed it a little different than most people do. Most people just have their paddle stacks, and our open play is going to be designed for beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And we got to talking to the guys because they're really, really great coaches. And they were like, we should probably have something at the end of those. So when you go, wow, my backhand's not that great. Cool. We have a drill right after the end of that you can pop into.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I thought that was a great idea. I was like, oh, you're right. Because I don't know how many times I've lost my tail on the tennis court and gone, man, if I could work on my backhand right now. So I thought that was pretty neat.
We want to have that. We want to have that availability for game improvement.
Yeah. And I like too that the open play is divided by skill level, because kind of going out to the public courts here, and I was telling Uncle the last time he was down here playing, is it lacks that structure. Like you never know what you're walking into. You don't know who you should challenge, who you shouldn't be challenging. So I think that's a benefit too of being a part of a club, is that organization and structure behind it.
Oh yeah. Sometimes a box of chocolates isn't as good as you think.
That's true.
Because it does sometimes. I mean, if you're new to this and just walking up to a public place or a new place or anything, it can be a little intimidating. But we want to make that part of it inviting to anybody that's just walking off the street. And like I said a while ago, pickleball curious. If you haven't played and you're curious about the game, come and see us. We want to make it that inviting for everybody that doesn't know about it.
Yeah.
So you have people that can walk in, right? That's fantastic. But then you also have a membership. Tell us a little bit about what the members will receive by being members of Dinkers.
Doug, this is all you.
Yeah, this will be me. I'm actually going to pull up our membership sheet right quick just so I can kind of go over it.
Well, and we're going to have two things. While he's pulling that up, I'm going to tell you about two things we have. And I really think this is a great advantage. You have the people that are used to being able to walk in and go or walk up to a court and do paddle stacks. The availability and just so you guys know, and I think we talked about that earlier, Dinkers Pickleball is it's 15 indoor courts, so we have quite a bit of room. We're going to set some courts up that are cash to play or can only play. Can't reserve those courts. Those courts are designed for when somebody walks in and says, "Hey, I'm from Oklahoma City and I'm in Dallas and I want to play. Don't have a membership here." You bet, drop in. Might be 10 people playing, might be nobody playing. Might be 4 people, it might be 30. We don't know. But at least you can walk in and you have a chance to play in an indoor court where you can do paddle stacks and go ahead and play. And then, like the one I talked about a minute ago, that's the open play, which is spaced out between beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But yeah,
There's several different courts set up for each.
Correct.
So as far as our memberships go, right now we're doing our pre-opening sales that is actually running through June the 8th, which is when our grand opening is. So our pre-opening, so our solo Dinker deal currently is for a solo membership. It runs $100 a month, and right now, like I said, for our pre-opening sale, we're waiving our $75 initiation fee for those sales. What your membership actually gets you, we have basically the same thing for a solo Dinker, a couples Dinker deal, and also a family membership. So we've basically got 3 separate memberships. All 3 of those are waiving the $75 initiation fee right now. And what is included with those is basically 2 free open play sessions per week. On the couples and the family membership, that's 2 free sessions per player per week, not for the entire group. You also get 4 free court reservations per month, up to 2 hours per reservation, and then they're half price thereafter. Half price courts for members are going to run $10, $20. Normal price for court reservations is $40 per hour. And then they've also got access to 14-day advanced court reservations. They're going to have half price drop in play as well. Drop in play, like Blake mentioned, is $10 to drop in and play. For members, if you want to drop in and play at any time, it's $5. If you don't want to use any of your other free time or anything like that, just to come in and drop in and play. So those are basically our memberships that we've got right now for our pre-sale open up. Again, price-wise, the solo is $100 a month or $1,000 for the year. I lost my pricing.
which gives you 2 months.
Yeah, correct. The couples membership is $175 per month, $1,750 for the year. The family membership is $300 per month or $3,000 for the year. And each membership, if you pay it annually up front, it actually saves you 2 months on a regular price.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, really. So if anyone's listening and they're in the area and want to purchase a membership, now's the time to do it because you'll save $75. The initiation fee is waived. Where can they go to view all of these prices and sign up?
You can go directly to our website, www.dinkerspbc.com. You can go to our Facebook page, Dinkers Pickleball Club, and you can go to our Instagram page as well. It's at Dinkers Pickleball Club.
Before we let you go, we got to give a shout out to the people over at Twisted Pickle.
Absolutely, we do.
Are wonderful. They put us in touch with each other. Tell us a little bit about how you're working with Twisted Pickle.
Those girls are absolutely fantastic. We've started doing what we're doing now, and quite honestly, like I told you, we're just 2 guys that love pickleball. We decided we were going to do this, and so we got to setting it up and finding the place, and we got as far as finding the place, doing the logos, and began to kind of get going on it, and
putting the business together.
Yeah, and then we reached out to Ashley and Suzanne and they're at Twisted Pickle, and they're absolutely fantastic. They were like, okay, don't forget you might need a first aid kit. I mean, all the things the little things that you think about when you're opening a business or that you don't think about. I'm sorry, when you're so busy trying to, we got to open the doors. And they're like, wait, don't forget, they Twisted Pickle. Those girls are amazing.
They are. They've been a godsend for us, and I mean, with their knowledge, their background, and their connections, they know a lot of people in the pickleball community, and they've already in just a short amount of time that we've been working with them, they've introduced us to so many people in this industry and given us so many opportunities to actually build this and communicate, and we couldn't ask for anything more from these ladies. They're absolutely wonderful.
Fantastic partners.
They absolutely are, and they will think of most everything. But I'm just curious, is there anything that none of you guys thought you would face that hits you and you're going, oh my gosh,
why did we think of that? I don't think it has yet. I don't think any of us have been slapped with, oh my God, why didn't we think of that at this point in time yet? So we're, fingers crossed that something like that doesn't just slap us.
Beer cooler. We didn't think of
beer
that.
Cooler.
Yeah, that was.
We don't have a beer cooler yet.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to see all the posts of the club when it opens, to see the videos and pictures of the grand opening. Again, that's coming up, June 9th or June 8th, excuse me.
June 8th. Yep, June 8th is our grand opening. June 7th is actually our ribbon cutting ceremony with the Denton Chamber of Commerce at 11 a.m. on Friday morning, June the 7th.
And give everybody the address again.
The address, Dinkers Pickleball Club, is 719 South Interstate 35E in Denton, Texas, 76205.
We got to get ourselves out to Texas, Uncle.
Yes, we do.
Yes, you do.
Come on out. We'd love to have you. Come on out.
I want to know if anybody plays pickleball in boots.
I'm sure there has been.
But there's probably an issue there.
All right. Well, I'll just bring my pickleball shoes then. And Bridgie, we're going to come out and we're going to see the two of you. We can't wait to check out the club.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, and before we let you all go, we're going to do one last toast.
Sure.
Our third shot, which is our favorite shot.
Yes.
That's right.
To the Dinkers Pickleball Club.
Right. There we go.
Big grand opening.
There we go.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for coming on. We wish you the best of luck. I'm sure you're going to be extremely successful. Everything that I've heard from the women over at Twisted Pickle and obviously this interview today sounds like it's going to be a fantastic facility.
Absolutely. We're very excited.
Come out and see us.
We will. Thank you for the invite. And thank you for joining us on Third Shot, where Bridgie and I will continue to share our pickleball journey. Special thanks to Blake and Doug for joining us today. Go check out Dinkers Pickleball Club in Denton, Texas. Their grand opening again is June 8th. And go to their website, which is www.dinkerspbc.com, where you can learn more about the club. And you can help us by subscribing. And we promise to have more amazing guests in the future, just like Blake and Doug. And we will continue to share our enjoyment and our love for the game of pickleball. And let's keep growing this pickleball community, right, guys? The community.
Absolutely. Your courts, your community.
That's right. We're doing it together. See everybody next time on Third Shot Podcast.